は一人その足取り確かに刻んでいる Nothing here unless it's something changes my one with you 過ぎる吹雪焦る芽吹き予感にざわめくもう忘れてしまった忘れない曲屋のような現実で見落としていたあては何わけは何気づけば随分遠くへ終わらせる勇気もないまま君の手と境界線で離れ今もまだ胸が痛い思うより涙は冷たいけれど
Good evening and welcome back to Keskalokil, my dwarven fortress that is currently overrun with dead goblins. Well, not really overrun because they're dead, because we had a goblin siege last session, and while it was rather costly in terms of number of dwarves killed, it was a lot more costly for the goblins, not least because we drowned a lot of them in the traditional fashion. Yes. One of my aims is to remove drain the river, the traditional means of drowning goblins, or at least make it practical to drain the river so that it's easier to get the stuff out of it without ideally draining all of the dwarves into the drains and everyone ending up in an enormous mess. So to that end, I've started on what will eventually be an enormously long staircase down to the caverns to dump a lot of water in, and we've now installed all of the installed a bunch of grates that will eventually be fitted at the bottom of those staircases. So now I think we can actually make a hole through into the cavern itself. I'm now wondering whether I should just leave the grates where they are. Like, rather than carefully moving them down, why don't I cut those holes into the cavern and then wall off the entirety of that floor.
The floor is already fairly walled off down here.
Yes. We've got a bunch of stone lying around. It wouldn't be very hard. So what we would then we would cut into there. Actually, no, I've already walled off that floor. I need to unwall that floor first so that I can get down there, because all of those grates now make it impossible to get down there. Because the only way that I got there was by digging the staircase down, the the drainage staircase down to it. Or I could just remove one of the grates, penetrate through the floor and then put the grate back without like shuffling all the other grates around. That sounds like a plan. Conveniently, that one's already slated for removal. So all that we need to do, I think, is to mark that lot as no longer blueprint. Actually, we should... Can we turn that one into a channel order instead? Yes, because that will then make sure that the water can actually drain out of that corner. Right, and then those will become accessible as soon as the grate is removed, and like that might be reasonably efficient, who knows. And then we just put the grate back as soon as we've dug through all of those. Right, that'll do, if we can find a miner to work on it. And yes, I just reorganised the carpentry a bit so that we should get only like halfway competent carpenters. Why is there a forbidden alder bin there? Why are there forbidden bins? Unforbid bins. There's another forbidden bin. There probably shouldn't be anything forbidden in this stockpile. Let's just unforbid the whole stockpile. There's a forbidden hammer, a toy hammer there. Right, fix that. I mean, at least a forbidden bolts makes some sense. Actually, just deforbid everything in that room. Right, and we have the first minecart trundling around that track. Let's add a second one. All right, yes, my miners are currently finishing off the second batch of catacombs. We have a slight surplus of beds, which is a bit silly. We have one willow door there, which is slightly useful. We can at least make one more tomb with that. Oh, a forgotten beast. That's a bit exciting because we're currently making the caverns available. Yes, an enormous one-eyed forgotten beast, Lomifo, has come. An enormous one-eyed lizard. It has two narrow tails and it has a bloated body. Its dark tan scales are small and overlapping. Beware its deadly spittle. Yes.
I mean, that might be at least moderately menacing forgotten beast because it's
Yes.
not made of anything wildly.
It's not made of any implausible materials. It like has actually armoured skin. It certainly seems to be doing a fair bit of damage to that Draltha. This will at least give us some idea of what its deadly spittle is like. Maybe. I don't think the Draltha has like fallen unconscious, but on the other hand, it hasn't done anything. Right, the Draltha has been killed. Happily, this forgotten beast is a fair distance from where we're actually planning to penetrate the caverns. So we might be reasonably safe from forgotten beasts for now.
Can you find my phone and bring it through with you at some point, please? Not.
Were you saying anything?
Yes, can you find my phone and when you come through, bring it with you?
Any idea where it is?
Probably to the left of my chair.
Just seeing if I can find the digging job. Oh no, the removing, destroy building, right. So no one is yet actually assigned to remove that floor grate. And once they are, they'll have a longish walk to get to it. That's our unused lever. We want to link that lever to that bridge. Right, we'll call that drain Z, because it's right at the opposite end of the river from drains A through E. Oh, is that someone going to do something useful? No. Well, I mean, I'm sure eating is useful for the said surgeon, but it's not useful for our purposes. Why did you get clouted with someone's left hand? How did that happen? What worries me is the obvious place to get clouted with someone's left hand is if you've managed to fall into the rubbish dump. But no, that doesn't seem to have happened. Let me just check where that person is. Okay, they don't seem to be stuck somewhere. Have we made any more doors yet? No. Are you at least like halfway competent woodworker? Yes, good. Right, that bit's working properly at least. What are you doing in the water? Why did you just leap across the room? I mean, I'm sure you're learning to swim as a result. Right, you are actually a competent swimmer, but that might not stop you getting run down by a minecart.
I think even an Olympic swimmer might have trouble getting out of the way of a fast-moving minecart.
Why is there still only one minecart there then, eh? Alright, the second minecart is there, we just can't see it. Okay, good. Shouldn't I have the lever set to forcibly fill in 5? And indeed S5. Are all of the other things on the S side now officially empty? Yes. I think that means we can also start loading up S with minecarts. Oh, it looks like launching the minecart tends to cause the dwarf doing so to fall in the water. What? I think. No, there's still a minecart there. What were you doing? Slightly confused by what was happening there. How is that destroy building task going? Apparently mostly what needs to be done is... Looks like it might have happened. Let's look at what's going on down here while we were being distracted by the minecarts. Like, we would prefer not to let that forgotten beast out if we can avoid it. No, that's still that's slated for removal. Okay. Right, so N5 is now forced to be full, so we can safely add a third minecart to N. S5 is now forced to be full, so you can safely add some more minecarts to S. Oh, we've apparently lost some water from here. We've got a 4 square, which I'm sure we didn't used to have.
There's a hole in your water.
They've also got some 6s, so I'm slightly confused. The water levels are not behaving quite as I was expecting. Right. Right, we've run out of space in the goblin bits stockpile, more or less. So let us mark everything in the goblin bits stockpile to be dumped. And then go through it looking for heads which we should undump. Hang on, I drifted off the correct row there. Okay, it's not all actually corpses, there's a few leopard gecko remains. And some walnuts. Surprisingly few loose heads here. Oh, there's one. Where was it? Now wondering if we could set up something that would automatically filter these by like weighing them or something. Okay, there are enough that I'm going to have to build more pedestals. It occurs to me that I could annoy the elves at the same time by making pedestals out of wood. Right, that will deal with most of the contents of that. Right, there is someone going to do some digging, which will probably be relevant. Yes. Specifically digging a hole I'm interested in. Maybe we should like schedule a bit more of sticking so we've now got 3 waiting minecarts on the northern loop and 2 on the southern loop. Let's add another minecart on the southern loop and then stop forcing N5 to be filled. We probably actually want not to watch that dwarf at all, but to watch our local forgotten beast if we can see it. We can't see it, that's good. Okay, that means that it's not just below the bottom of that staircase, probably. I wonder if you can use blueprints to make digging through damp soil less annoying. Okay, the fact that there's water leaking into this staircase means that anyone going up or down it is relieved being near a waterfall. Right, so that should suddenly have spammed me with lots of "we have struck stuff" messages. Hang on, how is anything giving birth in this fortress? Is there someone we've forgotten to deal with? Right, so I should now see if the forgotten beast has become visible. It has not. We can see a lot of troglodytes down there, but we can't see a forgotten beast. Good. So then, oh yes, I was going to have a quick look at my animals and go, why are we getting spare cats? Is there an intact male kicking around somewhere? I was hoping that this would like search for cats. Or are they all domesticated? Or can we just... does profession mean species? Yeah, it looks like it does. Aha! Just bonk the geld button on that cat. That's why we have a slight I mean, admittedly, cats are probably better than many animals because they do actually seem to be mostly. We've actually got very few stray cats, unless the stray cats are classified somewhere else. All right, the stray cats are all down there. No, we have an adequate quantity of stray cats. Right, we don't need to make more stray cats. Not just yet, anyway. Right, so that's all of the openings into the cavern made. There is no one below the level of the grates, so we should now mark that grate for reinstallation. Ideally, like quite quickly. That's a Draltha that's lost a fight to the death with a Forgotten Beast. I don't know if it was the one we were watching. It might have. Meh. But say there's another one. So I think the beast is busy going around killing everything it can find in the caverns. Right, so now we have all 4 minecarts in both loops. The top minecart is also, we've also turned off the forcibly marked section 5 as occupied. Sorry, we've got 3 minecarts in each loop, that's correct. So now we can add the 4th minecart, because when that one sets off, it will then clear that top. It will cause N5 to become clear, which will then allow things to start moving all the way around, which means also, I suppose, we can mark all of N as rideable. Right. Means people can then start learning to swim again, because we need some more swimmers, because we drowned a lot of, not drowned a lot of them, got a lot of them hacked to bits by goblins. Now, I wanted to look at the task list to see if anyone was scheduled for constructing that grate yet. Yes, but they're all the way up there. Okay, this will be a while. Let's just hope that the Forgotten Beast doesn't find us in the meantime. You're going very slowly. I'm going to do some other things. How are we off for doors? Can we... well, that one at least has been put in, so we could mark that one as a tomb, which will get someone else buried. Right. Yay, we've got back up to the point of making soap. Our soap production pipeline is now working again. Which means that like dwarves can have happy thoughts from soapy baths.
The entire purpose of soap is to make dwarves happy. Public health isn't a concern.
Oh, public health is also a concern. In particular, it's very useful for stopping them getting infections when they get injured. Plus, mental health is totally health. Especially in Dwarf Fortress, where dwarves are quite happy to demonstrate that mental ill health gives rise to physical ill health, not necessarily in the same dwarf.
Right, all those tantrums and rampages and so on.
Right, and here we have a bunch of dwarves learning to swim. You're a grandmaster swimmer already. You probably don't need to learn to swim. So, have I not turned on? Right, we can now, yes, install the last minecart in the south loop. And also mark the south loop as open for business. No, wrong one. Right. So I've accidentally gone into not showing me the depth of water mode, which would be terribly confusing. Good, we are making masterpiece mittens. There, that tomb is now immediately assigned. I expect someone, yes, will choose who to put in that tomb in a moment. No, we don't have any doors at the moment. So many items that need storing. We still have plenty of dump item jobs pending because no one has dumped most of those bits of dwarf goblin yet. What are the keys for doors? I'm sure I need to press them quite often. Something R. Yes, I suppose an aquifer is quite a good source of like controlled quantities of water. I mean, of small quantities of water, which you can then channel into a staircase in order to cheer up everyone who goes up or down that staircase. Maybe I should do that sort of thing deliberately.
Oh, you think your staircases might also become sort of convenient water features?
Yeah, and like usually I try to stop the aquifers leaking into the staircases. But it might be better if I let the aquifers leak into the staircases gently. So is anyone actually going to like come and deal with this floor grate? All right, yes, they are almost there. It's just that unfortunately the person who'll be doing it has damaged the nervous tissue in their lower spine and quite plausibly will never walk again. Right, so now there is no danger that any dwarf will get washed into the caverns, or that the forgotten beast or beasts will escape from the caverns into the fortress. Well, at least as long as we don't get any gaseous forgotten beasts, I suppose. But I think those are quite easy to kill. Yeah, that's fine. We bought everything interesting the merchants had.
Dangerous if you're fighting one hiccup.
Yes. So now it should be safe to like finish this staircase. So actually, can I avoid cancellations by marking the wet bits as blueprint for now? And like enabling them one floor at a time. So doors are BPR. How on earth? I suppose that's kind of portal, isn't it? Still no supply of doors. We are making more doors as fast as we... Well, not as fast as we can, because we're also making coffins and... Actually, let's... we can't subtly promote doors because they're already the next job. Oops, I'm paused. That's why nothing good's happening. It's autumn, so the leaves are falling from the trees, as we can see. Okay, so that one, of course, has immediately cancelled. Which is quite complicated to recover. No, not from there. Let's do it upwards then. No, it also cancels blueprints. Curses. Right, this is going to be faffy to get through these aquifer layers. Oh, I was intending to dig this staircase upwards, wasn't I? Well, aren't many aquifer layers in the way. I'm sure it'll be fine. I've started now, I can't really stop. Right. No, we're still not quite through the damp bits. So now we have the problem, because I'm an idiot, that this staircase, as we dig it, is going to gradually fill with water. And the question essentially is, can we get to the bottom of it? Oh, gods, is this going to be utterly tedious now? Are we going to find that every layer is damp because we've just filled it with water from the layer above? Well, let's wait until we get to layers that are not naturally damp and see if that still seems to be a problem. If it does, then maybe we do actually have to do it from above. And that might not actually be so bad now I come to think of it, because, I mean from below, because we can, because like, all that'll happen is when we join them up, suddenly there'll be a cascade of water falling down the staircase, but that shouldn't be too fatal. Okay, no, they do actually seem to be not suffering from cancellations now. We're just striking new things which we should mine properly. At least gems, because gems are useful. We've got enough iron ore for any reasonable purpose. And there is no real purpose for bauxite. Someone has named their shield, that's fine. I'm deliberately tagging these gems for mining at fairly low priorities because we don't really need lots of them. I mean, we don't really need to do them first. They should be done after the staircase is dug because we want to dig the staircase fast enough that it doesn't flood beyond the... doesn't flood far enough to make digging difficult. But at least the miners down here should be enjoying themselves because they're mining in a waterfall. Okay, why is there a stationary minecart there? That's not meant to happen. I think we are going to need to sort out the precision filling system for this swimming pool so that we can safely fill it up a bit faster. But that might require some careful arithmetic. With the idea being that if we have a reservoir above it that is filled to precisely the right depth to give us a depth of 5 across, or possibly 4.5 across this entire area, then we can just pull a lever and dump all that water in there, and that will get the depth pretty accurately right. And then we don't have to do all this faffing with things, with pumps and valves to carefully fill the thing up to just the right depth. So we're getting reasonably deep here. Still some distance to go. The water is still mostly only 1/7 deep, so that's probably fine. I think they'll stop mining at like 4/7. We're now making masterpiece nut roasts, which is probably good. Not striking anything interesting down here. Right, yes, we're getting occasional cancellations due to the water depth, but it's not yet deep enough that they can't mine at all. It's just that when they mine downwards, that the hole they make immediately fills up to the point where they can't mine that one down further until they've cleared out the others, which is fine. If we reach the point where everything is too deep in water, then we'll have to do something different. So I think this is where, oh hang on, that minecart is off the track. So it's not actually a problematic minecart, except insofar as we would like to know why it's there. And it's probably no longer usable. So that probably means so N1 signal is active, even though, oh no, there is actually a minecart in N1, so that's correct. N2 signal is active, but there doesn't seem to be anything actually in section N2. I think N2 has accidentally ended up, that minecart has somehow derailed in N2, so we should, there's a first step, empty N2. And then hopefully that will make it easier to, that will then at least get everyone out of the dwarf washer, and then we can work out how we put a new minecart into that slot. Still, dwarf washer north appears to be working properly, at least. Dwarf washer south, sorry, appears to be working properly, and that's like why we have two of them. It's partly because they will keep breaking. Right, we used to have 20 people in the worst happiness slot. We now have 19. Geshud Avuzastis is still one of them. We could clearly improve her yeah, sorry, we're doing quite badly at putting people in the ground at the moment. Could still do with improving her bedroom. Has she got her she's got a cabinet now, so that should make her bedroom nicer for her, but apparently it's not really a good enough bedroom. Let's find her a statue. I don't have any really good statues. Well, that one will do. That's curious. People seem to be being slightly more injured by falling objects than I would expect. So at least some of the goblins are being disposed of. Oh, we should raise the drawbridge in case of the next goblin invasion, shouldn't we? Right, there's a minecart there. We're just waiting for someone to ride it. That will be fine. Those two dwarves have correctly advanced, so as soon as someone actually rides that minecart, they will be allowed out. Right, it looks like the dumping of the goblins is finally getting underway. So how's that staircase doing? It's still not complete. Oh, is that a gem? It is. I can't see any reason why that shouldn't get mined. So if no one comes and does it soon, the flooding will be bad enough that it can't be mined. But it should also be possible for the dwarves to carve an upward staircase from here. I mean, it might not be possible for some reason, but at least I think they can carve upward staircases. Maybe there's some terrible reason why they can't. But even then, they could carve those two squares out. Well, maybe all the mining dwarves are busy doing something useless. Plus we have some agitated peregrines kicking around. Why are you so grumpy? Various usual reasons. Right, just going to check that the northern minecart loop is functioning correctly. So, yes, that's the last. That person who was on the way out of it getting released. So that's all working correctly. Is that just a muscle again? Yes. We do have this slight thing of okay, we could directly dump at least the goblin corpses from here to save them having to go via the stockpile. probably reduce the amount of miasma a little bit. Right, the door doesn't actually have to be in place for it to, for multi-mode to properly respect it. That's nice to know. I don't know what's happening. I think that troglodyte is being unfortunately swept away by the water that I'm pouring into the caverns from various sources. We may be getting to the point where we can't dig this staircase downwards anymore. Given that that one just got cancelled, I think because the water's too deep. And those don't seem to be being dug upwards. Oh no, those are being dug again. Let's follow this person who's coming to dig this staircase. And see if they can actually dig anything. I suspect they'll get one level down and then discover that they can't dig anymore because there's too much water. And possibly they're busy drowning. Oh dear, right, yes, that's going to be a problem. There's so much water there that it's rather too easy to just end up digging a hole, climbing down into it and then drowning in it. Right. Then we should... Don't know if we can do this fast enough, but... Oops, yes, dig a connection from the other staircase into this one. To get the water out of it. Just thinking about if someone comes down here and digs that, we really want them to immediately try to dig this edge out. If we mark this for channeling on the floor above, then that might actually be achievable. And that might drain enough water So let's do that to, as rapidly as possible, let the water out in the hope of saving the drowning dwarf. What drowning dwarf? There was a drowning dwarf here a moment ago. I think the drowning dwarf has undrowned themselves. Excellent. We like that. We probably don't need to make that much space here. What I think we need to do is to temporarily say don't go any deeper and drain off the water. Though possibly just spreading the water out a little bit will be fine. Then what I think I'll do is I'll dig a tunnel in the other direction so that we can dig that staircase downwards, because I'm not sure you can dig stairs upwards. But we can dig it downwards in the dry. Someone thinks they can mine that. I'm not quite. Oh yes, they can. Of course, they can do it from the stairs. Yes, that's fine. So yes, this water won't even reach this staircase. It will just spread out a bit, but I mean it will eventually, because it'll carry on leaking in from the aquifer above. Oops. You get more waterfall contentedness there. Oh, only 15 maximally unhappy dwarves now, but Gertrude Avuzastis is still right at the top of the list. Delighted remembering putting on an exceptional item. She still needs a new hood though, and a new cloak. But like, she's got some decent mittens now. How did you get chained up, I wonder? Probably you started a fight. How's her bedroom now? It's great. We could probably do better than great. Has it got that? Has someone installed the statue? They have, and it's still only great. I mean, we could just give her a different bedroom, but that would kind of feel like cheating. We could, of course, pave the floor properly in porcelain. Or at least those bits of floor that are conveniently accessible. Which will increase the value of the bedroom a little bit. Mica is not useful. Oh, we've got a great horned owl. It got punched by a dwarven child, which has probably killed it. At least will kill it in due course.
Was that the one they had at Shepworth next to the snowy house?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Oh, kaolinite. We like kaolinite. We've still got quite a lot of that staircase to dig. But it's probably safe to dig now. That's nice. So that's a bunch of merchants leaving. Getting close to the point where all the dead goblins have now been put properly in their stockpile. So we could do another pass of marking them for dumping. Oops. Oh, that did work. And then we've got burial places for still not all of the dead dwarves. So let's tag that entire area for dumping and then look for heads again. Oh, if we switched to cancel dumping, then we can do it without having to move the cursor out of the way, which will make things faster. At least if we're like, actually, if we do that, then we can do it with a single click even. I mean, you can't see that it's had an effect, mind, but We're going to need quite a lot of additional pedestals, aren't we? We've only got 4 that are empty, I think. I've definitely found more than 4 heads here. Right. Let's ask for another 10 rock pedestals. Oh, and while we're making things, we should make some weapon traps as well. Oh, right, that's an isolated island that we can't get to. Let's make it accessible then. Oops, I think I've just made it out of some stupid material. Select material when we're building floors. So how deep have we got now? Still only minus 55. Apparently that qualifies as a gem. Nearly done actually. So, yes. All the key, oh, they're all ordinary size keys, they're probably not worrying. Oh, yellow spessardine, I wonder if that's nice. Right, we've now finished connecting up that staircase. Except that we need to connect the 2 sections, which we can safely do now, because when they get connected, the water will can just pour straight down this staircase. And into the caverns, which is good. So as I understand it, I want to install a wall now there. And then we do some faintly ludicrous digging manoeuvre from the layer below in order to penetrate the bottom of the river, and we hope that works. Ooh, what? Oh, you've been found dead on the surface. Well, that's weird. Wonder what killed you. Maybe we'll have to make it. Let's make a. It couldn't have fallen out of a tree. Oh, of course, we could like check combat logs, couldn't we? Erdium tossage solid. No. Don't appear in the list. No, that's the wrong mode. I think the Kias and the Tearsal Peregrines are too small to be worth butchering. So I think all of this staircase is now ready, and we can release the river into it. Well, we can try anyway. Why are there's still some squares here that aren't being mined? Or oh, those are bituminous coal. Yeah, we don't care about that. Right, we now have a wall there, which ought to make this safe. So now the idea, and I've only read about this and like not tested it or anything, is that even though there's a bridge here, it should be possible while standing here to mine that section out, and I now need to find out if that works. Looks like it. And the dwarves have assigned themselves that task. What, we actually out of Billen? Right, what's going on with the Billen situation then? Like, do we have a work order to smelt it? Yes, we do, and that is actually active, right? So, okay, do we have any adequate stocks of tetrahedrite? I haven't noticed any of those jobs being cancelled, so probably. Yes, we have 101 tetrahedrite lying around. That'll be fine. Right, this is one of the people who's going to do the mad ramp carving. That, like, ought to be impossible, but apparently isn't. Why are you repeatedly feeling vengeful? Is this just Kia's? Right, and they're coming down to this level, which will not initially flood, because all that should flood, if all this works, is this small section here. There we go. That was a very satisfying piece of work, and brief bit of drainage of the river as the river fills that small room there. That's the boring bit though. So the fun thing is that now I should be able to connect that up. Have I misaligned this by one? Oh, maybe a little bit. Yes, it looks like I might have. And maybe I couldn't avoid it. Is that now I should be able to, no, not that button, connect up this to there. Now we can't actually dig out that upper section, so we'll cancel that. Actually, no, cancel all of that, Ben. And try again a little more cautiously. So currently there is a bridge here that when removed will allow water into this level. What we would like to do therefore is to ensure that that water flows expeditiously. No, that's not right. Downwards. which we can at least do by going from this existing staircase up one level. We don't, though, want to actually penetrate the new riverbed yet, though we might want to do that later once we've started letting letting the river in. But we'll probably want to change the design of the drains around here anyway. Right. So now there are a bunch of gems still waiting to be collected. I think possibly we should let that happen before we let the river in. Because otherwise people are going to get very wet doing it. May not be very many gems actually. But let's give it a short while. Dear, are we already out of leather? That's kind of unfortunate. Let's just mark more peregrines and keers for dumping. Let's find some of our older animals and mark them for slaughter then. Is there a button in this thing for slaughter? Thought it was. Confused now. If we have a goat skeleton randomly lying around, which we can dispose of. We still don't have any spare doors. Let's see if we can install Erdium Tossage Solid's memorial slab so that we can work out what's going on there. No, because it hasn't been made. What? Either that or it's in the process of being stored. I suppose we could actually make more tombs without doors by simply doing them by hand. At least once we actually... Well, no, actually, I don't think there's anything to stop me marking a tomb even before it's got a coffin in it. It's a bit tedious, but... that will at least mean that people start being buried as soon as the coffin is in place. suppose one problem with these gems is that like there's a lot of other things that are meant to be being stored at the moment. And bits of goblin that are meant to be being dumped and so forth. So like everyone's quite busy. But yes, this means that these are... Oh right, we might finally have enough caskets to hold everyone who has died so far. That's good. No, we don't appear to have a slab for Erdim Tossid Cholid, but look, I scheduled it. Right, have another go. Okay, we do appear to have a small patch of bituminous coal that I accidentally mined there. Is there anything that matters in this staircase anymore? Maybe not. Yeah, I think it's time to release the river and see what happens. Let us find the lever labelled East River Drain Z and see what happens if we pull it. No one is yet assigned to the job of pulling the lever. How about now? Right. This should... Right, the lever has just been pulled. So in a short while that bridge should open and something exciting should happen to this river. There we go. So now the big question is essentially, can this drain the river fast enough to stop it refilling? So I think the fact that it all has to, the river the water all has to go sideways and then back sideways again is probably not helping. Possibly we could do a bit of strategic digging to prevent that being necessary. Another question is this actually draining the river? As in, is the water on this side going down? I think it is, very slowly. Not so sure now. Like the point at which the upstream point to which the 6 is reached doesn't seem to be moving much. We also seem to be getting quite a lot of water going down the wrong staircase. We might want to correct that. But there is also a decent amount of water going down the correct staircase and then pouring conveniently off the map. And surely the water can't be crossing this gap, can it? So where is the water flowing from to refill the river? Is there something that's just intrinsically filling the river? That would be weird. Water level here might be low enough we could actually build stuff across the river. If, like, I asked to build a bridge, I think it's a bit dubious about all the water, okay. Right, and we are a bit restricted in how close to the edge of the map we can build walls. And the amount of water is a bit... Oh dear. Were you in the wrong staircase at the wrong time? Looks like it, yes. Right, let's close that drain again and try to get the water routing a bit more safe. Oh dear. Also, it looks like another minecart has derailed. Let's just deassign the incorrect minecarts, i.e. the derailed minecarts, and then work out what that's done for signalling. So north appears to be working properly. Looks like there's 2 signals disengaged. Alright, S1 signal is active. We need to disengage S1. So we've now temporarily stopped draining the river again, because I think I want to ensure that it can't drain into this channel here, because that causes embarrassing drowning incidents. So the water comes down there at the moment. So we could build a wall across there, couldn't we? We might need a floor here just to fill in the, make the wall easily accessible for building. Let me just set up a couple of automated orders to just keep making coffins and doors as necessary. Right, some dwarves are turning up to build those walls. It may take a little while though. Right, both parts of the dwarf washer are still more or less functional, though I'm a little concerned there is another derailed minecart there. So possibly I need to deassign that one, yes. Which probably means there's another blocked section. I can't immediately see what it is, which it is, so maybe it's okay. So it does kind of look, apart from the slight drowning problem, that we don't get water out of here fast enough. Which is at least a little bit surprising. Right, there we go. That's that walled off. Oh, we probably want to do something similar here, don't we? No, I didn't actually want to use closest material for that one. That's getting far enough away that maybe we should just use blocks for it instead. Actually, that should be safe, shouldn't it? Because once water is on the staircase, it should just fall vertically down the staircase. Let's test that. That's a dead gear that can be disposed of. I'm a little concerned by the sheer number of bags here. Okay, no, those are actually mostly containing gypsum plaster. Okay, now, oh yes, but I did have a problem that I was making too much gypsum plaster, didn't I? Can we just check that we're not currently making gypsum plaster? Yes, good, that's correct. Right, we just have too much gypsum plaster and that will be fixed eventually by the natural process of dwarves breaking limbs. Right, so now the water is not going in terribly wrong directions and instead is just going vertically downwards. But we do still seem to have a problem that the capacity of this drain is not enough to actually drain the river. Which is like a little bit surprising. Like that section isn't ending up very full. But water does still get stacked up the level above. That's weird. I was assuming that at the very least this would gradually drain the downstream section. But those sixes seem to just peter out. That's weird. As though the river itself is spawning more water. Sorry, pondering this now and wondering what I could do to improve matters. I can just about build walls. Attempt to build walls in the river itself. So I could attempt to build. Does require getting the timing right. Like a wall in the river so as to block it up downstream. You might hope that having dammed the river entirely, we would be able to except that we can't, because we can't actually build all the way across the river, so that doesn't work. It looks like it's quite hard to build a bridge here. I wonder if we can do something stupid like making another drain further east and like draining an actual section of river. Maybe not right now. Now, where have the heads gone? Looks like my attempt at unmarking heads with this in paint mode just didn't work. That's bad. What a pity. There's now a bunch of goblin heads in the rubbish where they could have been somewhere more useful. Oh well. Let's not risk that again. Okay, yes, we have plenty of pedestals now. Where's that slab gone? Still listed as no slab engraved. Why? There, the task has vanished. I don't understand. That task keeps vanishing. It doesn't appear... Oh, needs unengraved slab in link stockpile. Oh right, I have to undo a stockpile link, do I? We're only doing this to find out how he died. So, yes, river drainage not actually functioning as we would hope. Yes, let's install some pedestals even though we can't do anything with them yet. The only things we have available are pedestals anyway. We'll stick to use closest. Right, yeah, that's plenty of pedestals. I wonder if there's a sensible way we could like get those lost minecarts out. Oh yes, we were still wanted to build more weapon traps, didn't we? Like there's a square there that doesn't have a weapon trap on it. Hang on, I think that we had that in... Yes, we don't want to use closest material when building a weapon trap. I mean, there is an argument for using artifact weapon mechanisms because they never jam, but that does feel a bit like who's going to appreciate them properly out there? No, apparently typing copper does not actually get you anything. Oops. Well, we'll stick a silver longsword in there. In fact, silver longswords are an obviously stupid idea, as are silver great axes. Yes, I suppose the goblins might appreciate a really good mechanism. Sorry, let's fill it with crossbows. I mean, that will mean that someone has to come out and fill the thing with bolts, but... Well, that's quite a lot of weapon traps scheduled for building. More leaves falling from the trees. Clearly the season for the oaks to shed their leaves. Just confirming you can't actually mine channels all the way out to the map edge. While I still consider the difficulties of getting the river properly drained. Does seem to be a slight habit people have of leaving their rubbish behind at the minecart stops. It's probably not very good for avoiding getting run down by minecarts. So do we now finally have a slab memorialising Erdim Tosim Sholid so that we can find out how he died? Yes. Sorry, still pondering the how to deal with this drainage system in a way that will work. Right, yes, well, we should have an answer to the death mystery once this slab's been installed. I mean, I could read it while it's on its way there, but it seems polite to wait for it to be properly set up. Right, we have a memorial to Erdim Tosim Sholid. Right, this is a microcline memorial to Erdim Tosim Tosid Sholid. The slab reads, in memory of Erdim Tosid Sholid, born 7, bled to death, slain by the Kia vanquished workers in the year 112. Creator of fortress beetles, mayor of the Treaty of Caves 102 to 112, lover of slate. So a Kia, a perfectly ordinary, non-giant Kia, managed to kill the mayor. We have a new mayor, but we're going to have to sort out giving them an office. At least our grumpy child has possibly put some of their clothes in their wardrobe. Right, let's find the mayor's office and such like, or an office at least. Like the royal suite is now available because the king doesn't live here anymore. So we may as well just give that to the mayor. Right, the mayor is now vastly over endowed with rooms. Oh, the bookkeeper needs an office as well, do they? There we go. Curiously, office assignments are personal, so this is why the new mayor doesn't automatically inherit the old mayor's office, and we have to carefully actually assign them. Well, yes, owing to my incompetence at marking things for not dumping, we only actually have one head to be placed on a pedestal, so let's deal with that. If we can find the said head. Possibly it should be right at the bottom of this list. It looks like there may be, it's that one, that was the name. I can't make Kia's mayor, plus the Kia's probably been killed by now. Oh, it's winter now. So I'm kind of in a, I don't know what we're doing next mood. I mean, apart from, there's some big projects, like work out why draining the river isn't working properly. And build the calibrated filling system for the... Oh yes, there's a scenic roller coaster. But again, that's a really big project that I probably shouldn't be starting at 10 to midnight. And the calibrated filling system for the dwarf washer probably mostly needs sums doing to work out the precise size of it. Let's have a look at our unhappiest dwarves and see what's wrong with them. Geshur Avuzastis is now third unhappiest dwarf. You want to be with your family. I can't organise that unless your family are here, which they're not. Indeed, you don't have any family. Maybe we should put you in the military so you can practice a martial art, if you're not already. Udil Lazfeb, do you have any useful swimming ability yet? Yes. Are you already in the military? No. Well, since we don't have... No, I shouldn't put people in the military while they're on the minecarts. Oh well, too late now. This tends to cause them to dump all of their clothes in inappropriate places. I mean, the fact that you can't work your legs may make your ability to do much in the military a bit fiddly, but hey, have a go. Oh yes, we could have a look for any staircases that I've carefully stopped water draining into, and maybe start letting the water in if the staircase has adequate drainage at the bottom. Like that one does, for instance. So we could possibly remove the... Well, we found... So Seb asks, do you need your staircases to be damp? Well, we found... I noticed in the really deep staircase I was using to drain the river was that because there was water constantly pouring down it, I mean, not very fast, from above, everyone would be very cheered by the waterfall. So, like, if I can... It's bad to have a staircase full of water if the water can't get out at the bottom of the staircase. But if the water can get out at the bottom of the staircase, then it's actually helpful. Because it means that people using the staircase will be cheered by the waterfalls. So I think we should actually remove these walls now. And thus let water into that staircase, at least a little bit of water. And I think it's not very dangerous letting water into staircases because people can't be swept down the stairs, I don't think. Well, you seem to have survived that quite well, Cat. Yeah, I think dwarves can't fall downstairs in the way that they can fall down open mine shafts. I mean, it's still possible that there would be better mist generators than... better places to put a mist generator than in a staircase. But, like, those will be more complicated to build, so... Slightly silly, of course, I'm building these tombs by hand, at which point it doesn't actually matter whether they have doors. Right, looks like we do actually have enough tombs for now. So we'll probably need to let the door and coffin making jobs run for a bit. I think we may as well turn off the drain, the river drain for now, because it clearly isn't working. It might be quite simple to build a simple mist generator. Like mostly I think we need enough space below it to catch the water reliably. Because I seem to remember in the past it's slightly too easy to end up with them flooding. Okay, mostly you're, yes, unable to feel anything at all, it looks like. Another lack of dining tables. Maybe we need to work out a way to improve the dining rooms a bit. Like possibly I should move some of these guild halls around. Not right now, I don't think. But it's a vile force of darkness that doesn't want parley, which generally means it's like 5 goblins, which have immediately vanished because they were too scared, right? Yes, indeed. A terrified force of darkness has run off. Right, well, yes, so we successfully set up our river drain, and it turned out that somehow it was unable to drain the river. And we don't really understand how. So, because it looks like the downstream part of the river doesn't drain, or at least only drains for a distance of a few hundred metres. And I don't quite understand how that can be. Oh, we do still have the goblin thieves, of course, to deal with, because they curiously are slightly less prone to just running away. Though they are still quite capable of finding weapon traps. And the weapon traps are quite capable of killing things. I mean, might not have killed yet. But like, if this goblin Yeah, right. That goblin didn't survive the weapon trap. This goblin has just run into a weapon trap. Yes, I mean, the goblins do get to experience the weapon traps very briefly before fairly rapidly bleeding to death. Well, I think we need more weapon traps then, because, like, given that we clearly, the military are not really required. Let's cancel their order. Sadly, we didn't get any loose heads out of that. We only got a spare left lower leg, which is not going to look very good on a pedestal, frankly. We have quite a few dwarves carrying objects to put into these weapon traps. And obviously now there will need to be some reloading of the weapon traps as well. Still have agitated gears, and now we know that agitated gears are slightly dangerous. Dizzy, it says you could collect enough bits for a whole skeletal goblin. Well, to be fair, we could just like take a goblin skeleton and hang it up if that was what we wanted to do. Right. We don't actually want to keep any of those bits. Dear. Down to 14 unhappy dwarves, but okay, the manager wants to be in the military as well. Can you swim? Yes. Was it the manager I'd already put into the military? I think it might have been. Gods, what are you guys doing standing around down there? Oh. Sibrek Ebal Oslan. Right, this is why we have to ensure that our dwarves don't get depressed. Because if a dwarf gets depressed while riding a minecart, they get off the minecart. This leaves them standing in the middle of the minecart track. At which point they tend to get run down by another minecart. Okay, I think I accidentally Oh no, where's that going? Might get butchered. Let's see if it gets butchered. I'm sure I had a sensible way to like mark animals for butchering from somewhere where I could also see their age. Just wondering there if pressing Control B from the wrong view did anything useful. No. Because that donkey probably wants butchering. Right, anyway, I fear someone's about to be run down by a minecart again. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that will actually get stuck there for a bit while these guys try to learn to swim well enough to escape. Well, you can swim well enough to escape. Oh, but you can't see an exit because the that's locked. Let's unlock that so that people can get out of it. I'm slightly concerned by the way that you don't appear to be going to hospital. Possibly because you're too depressed to go to hospital. That would be kind of appropriate. While also annoying. So yes, I think what happened here is that the depressed dwarf got off their minecart, then the next minecart behind hit them, stopped as a result, and therefore that minecart is now stuck on the track, blocking it. So yeah, that's all going to need tidying up, but I think for now, what with it being 10 past midnight, it might be time to say goodnight. Just thinking maybe I should melt down some copper armour, but I could make a squad out of depressed goblins and send them all away. I could just send them all away. Like, there is an option for send goblins to distant places so that they don't cause trouble here. Yes, actually I could do the copper armour recycling through here, couldn't I? I could just go armour, copper, mark all copper mail shirts for melting, footwear, copper, mark all the copper low boots for melting, and all the copper gauntlets. And all the copper helms. And all the copper chain leggings. And like that should at least reduce some of the rubbish. Seb asks, would they go if we sent our depressed dwarves off, or would they be too depressed to go? If they're actually sunk into depression like this one, then it's possible they wouldn't leave. Maybe if we used heavier mine carts, this would be less of an issue. Because presumably, if you're using really heavy mine carts, they aren't stopped by running someone over. Like, that would still be quite fatal, indeed probably quite a lot more fatal, but maybe that would be an acceptable trade-off for having the trains not stop when anyone gets in the way of them. Maybe, not sure. Or maybe we just need to make it easier to refill the dwarf washer so that it's less of a pain to empty it. That's probably what we actually need to do. But that's not a job for today. That's a job for doing a bunch of arithmetic to work out precisely how big it should be, which I shall do offline. So in the meantime, I think we will say good night, and we'll come back on Friday and possibly calibrate the dwarf washer filler and work out what to do with the river. Don't know about that. Till then, good night.